8:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by J. Yogaraj and read by Lavani Vijayatunga. First, we take a look at the headlines. 16 more Grama Niladhara divisions isolated. 922 new COVID infections reported in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka records 530 new recoveries today. Organic fertilizer needed by the farmers will be given from the Maha season. Decisions have been made to indefinitely suspend the route permits of the buses which have found carrying passengers over and above the seating capacity. In news overseas, Israel stampede, Netanyahu vows to investigate terrible disaster. And in sports news, Sri Lanka were 469 for the loss of 6 at the end of the second day's play of the second test match against Bangladesh. Those are the headlines, and now we move on to the details of the local news. 16 Grama Niladhara divisions in Kaluthara and Polonnaruwa districts have been placed under isolated orders with immediate effect, says Army Commander General Shavendra Silva. The isolated areas are as follows. Baduraliya Police Area, Kaluthara district, Bollunna Grama Niladhara division, Indurudaluva Grama Niladhara division, Midalana Grama Niladhara division, Morapitiya Grama Niladhara division, Palanda Grama Niladhara division, Hadigalla Grama Niladhara division. And in the Thiniyavala police area in the Kaluthara district, Thiniyavala Grama Niladhara division. In the Megahatana police area in Kaluthara district, once again, Valalavita South Grama Niladhara division, Makalandava Grama Niladhara division, Katuyakale and Valmigodan Grama Niladhara divisions, Bothalava Grama Niladhara division, Pahalaha Vassa Grama Niladhara division, Miriswata Grama Niladhara division, Palavata East Grama Niladhara division, and Alahara police area in the Polonnaruwa district, Sarubima Grama Niladhara division. As many as 922 people were tested positive for novel coronavirus in Sri Lanka so far within the day, according to the National Operations Centre for Prevention of COVID-19 outbreak. Following the latest surge in COVID-19 figures, the country's caseload now stands at 107,406. Meanwhile, the recoveries count climbed to 95,975 after 530 individuals who were infected with the virus were discharged from medical care earlier today. According to the statistics, 10,764 active cases are still under medical care at designated hospitals and treatment centres. Sri Lanka also witnessed 667 fatalities due to the outbreak of the pandemic. The epidemiology unit of the Health Ministry reported 530 more coronavirus recoveries in the country today. This brings the total number of COVID-19 recoveries in Sri Lanka so far to 95,975. Majority of the patients were discharged from Dambadeniya Treatment Centre, that's 55, Bingiriya Treatment Centre, 52, Valikanda Base Hospital, 35, and Koggala Beach Hotel, 34. This is the news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. And we continue with more local news. Organic fertilizer needed by the farmers will be given from the Maha season. Agriculture Minister Mahindananda Arudgamage said that organic fertilizer needed for Yala season has been imported. Importing of chemical fertilizers has been banned at present. The President has planned 2 years ago to end the use of chemical fertilizer in the country. Accordingly, organic fertilizer will be issued for cultivations in more than 140,000 hectares in Kurunegala. Although importing of chemical fertilizers has been banned, it has not been prohibited to sell chemical fertilizer that has already been imported. 40 billion rupees is spent annually to import chemical fertilizer. The Auditor General's report revealed that the substandard chemical fertilizer has been imported from the year 2015 to 2018, and 50 laboratory reports related to those have been fraudulently altered. Manufacturing of organic fertilizer is being done at present using more than 8,000 metric tons of waste obtained from farmers daily and another 5,000 metric tons of waste obtained from dairy farmers. The minister has pointed out that farmers will be given concessions if the harvest obtained from using the organic fertilizer is less than the earlier harvest. Transport Minister Dilum Amnugama said that decisions have been made to indefinitely suspend the route permits of the buses which are found carrying passengers over and above the seating capacity, which is against the quarantine regulations. He said the police and the provincial passenger transport authorities have been informed about this and authorized to take stern action against the violators and ensure bus operators carry passengers only up to seating capacity. Sergeant-at-Arms Narendra Fernando said today that the leaders of the political parties representing Parliament today decided to take up the debate on Port City Economic Commission Bill on Wednesday. He said that the debate will take place from 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. It was also decided to take up an adjournment debate on the current pandemic situation in the country on Tuesday. The party leaders have also decided to hold the sessions only on 2 days during the next parliamentary week. And to conclude the local news, the headlines once again. 16 more Gramanil divisions isolated. 922 COVID infections reported in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka records 530 new recoveries today. Organic fertilizer needed by the farmers will be given from the Maha season. Decisions have been made to indefinitely suspend the route permits of buses which are found carrying passengers over and above the seating capacity. And that was the local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The main news story for tonight, as many as 922 people tested positive for novel coronavirus in Sri Lanka so far within the day, according to the National Operations Centre for Prevention of COVID-19 outbreak. Following the latest surge in COVID figures, the country's caseload now stands at 107,406. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
And we move on to Watchlight. The consumers complain about the price hikes of some essential commodities. These price hikes are seen at many private sales outlets. It has caused immense difficulties to the low-income families. The traders come up with various reasons, including transport costs and travel restrictions due to COVID-19 situation. However, the consumers feel these excuses are not valid causes. This is for the attention of the Consumer Affairs Authority. And that came to you in Watchlight.
World News, brought to you by courtesy of
the best discount in this Urdu season, People's Leasing Polybasi. Enjoy an interest rebate of 25% from People's Leasing for all the leasing facilities during this Urdu season. Call 011-206-300 for more details. Conditions apply.
People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
Headlines of the world news. Israeli stampede. Netanyahu vows to investigate terrible disaster. Bronze Age treasure found in Swedish forest by mapmaker. Eurozone suffers double-dip recession as pandemic impact continues. Those are the headlines, and now we move on to the details of the world news. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has promised to investigate a stampede at a crowded religious festival that left dozens of people dead. During a visit to the scene near Mount Meron on Friday, he said the serious investigations would ensure that this kind of disaster never happens again. At least 45 people were killed and 150 injured at the all-night Lag Bomer festival, which attracted tens of thousands of Orthodox Jews. It is unclear what triggered the stampede. A man surveying a forest for his orienting club in western Sweden stumbled on a trove of Bronze Age treasure reckoned to be some 2,500 years old. It includes about 50 items such as necklaces, bracelets and clothing pins. The cartographer Thomas Carlson said, "I first thought it might be a lamp, but then when I looked closer, I saw that it was old jewelry." Swedish archaeologists say that it is very rare to find such a hoard in a forest. The Eurozone's economy fell back into the recession as the impact of the pandemic continues to hit activities. Europe's economies have been set back by a renewed surge in infections this year and COVID-related restrictions. The Eurozone shrank by 0.6% in the January to March period, the second consecutive contraction, which is widely used definition of a recession. It is the second such episode, so-called double-dip recession, since the onset of the pandemic. And to conclude the world news, the headlines once again. Israeli stampede. Netanyahu vows to investigate terrible disaster. Bronze Age treasure found in Swedish forest by mapmaker. Eurozone suffers double-dip recession as pandemic impact continues. And that was the world news.
World News, brought to you by courtesy of
the best discount in this Urdu season, People's Leasing Polybasi. Enjoy an interest rebate of 25% from People's Leasing for all the leasing facilities during this Urdu season. Call 011-206-300 for more details. Conditions apply.
People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
And in development news, the government plans to develop Ahaliagoda town under the 100 Towns Development Program. A meeting in this regard was held today at the Urban Development Authority in Battaramulla under the patronage of Minister Pavitra Vanyarache. The meeting focused on reducing traffic congestion in the Ahaliagoda town. From that, we move on to sports news. Sri Lanka were 469 for the loss of 6 wickets at the end of the second day's play of the second test against Bangladesh being played at Kandy Pallekele grounds. Sri Lanka won the toss and elected to bat first. Accordingly, Sri Lanka in their first innings were 469 for the loss of 6 wickets at the close of play. Captain Dimuth Karunaratne scored 118 and Lahiru Tirmana made 140. There is a sports news, business news coming up.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
In business news, Ceylon Bank made a steady start in the year 2021 by posting a profit after tax of 1 billion rupees in Q1 2021 amidst macroeconomic challenges brought in by the COVID-19 pandemic. Interest income recorded a decline due to the lower interest rates and moderate book growth, but the net interest margin showed a marginal increase over the corresponding period in the year 2020 due to lower financing costs. That was the business news, and economic news follows.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic News. Courtesy of...
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
And in economic news, Sri Lanka growth is forecast at 4.1% in the year 2021, recovering on an expansive budget and stronger global demand with marked rebound expected in the major advanced economies as well as from a base effect following a contraction in the year 2020. The growth is projected to slow somewhat to 3.6% in the year 2022. That was economic news and the weather report to conclude.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
And finally, the weather report. The Met Department says showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in the central, Sabaragamuwa, southern, Uva, north central and eastern provinces and in the Mullaitivu district during the evening or night. A few showers may occur in the western and southern coastal areas during the morning. Fairly heavy rainfalls, about 50 millimeters, can be expected at some places in the Sabaragamuwa, Uva and central provinces and in the Gaul and Mathura districts. This weather report was published this evening at 7:30 p.m. Further details could be obtained by visiting the official website of the department. Before we conclude this bulletin of news, let's get back to the headlines once again. 16 more Graman and Dara divisions isolated. 922 COVID infections reported in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka records 530 new recoveries today. Organic fertilizer needed by the farmers will be given from the Maha season. Decisions have been made to indefinitely suspend the route permits of the buses which are found carrying passengers over and above the seating capacity. And in news overseas, Israeli stampede, Netanyahu vows to investigate terrible disaster. And in sports news, Sri Lanka were 469 for the loss of 6 wickets at the end of the second day's play of the second test against Bangladesh. And with that, we conclude this bulletin of news. And now it's back to your Friday evening host today and my good friend Mario to keep you entertained.